It's been a long haul back for New Orleans, and it's a recovery story that's far from finished.
US Coast Guard, US Coast Guard.
Hurricane Katrina and the flood that followed was right up there as one of the biggest disasters ever in the US. More than 1,800 people died, and nearly 600,000 people were forced to evacuate the city. In the famous French Quarter these days, no sign at all of the bad times, as tourists once again fill the streets and bars. And you don't have to travel far out of town to find this, because it's everywhere, almost as if Katrina was a recent visitor. These houses probably will be left to fall down because their owners are long gone. They would have been evacuated soon after the hurricane came through, and now they've established lives elsewhere in America, never to return. The Lower Ninth Ward was a typical suburb of 5,000 homes and 14,000 people. Every living person left. Their homes that didn't fall down mostly were eventually demolished. But now, ever so slowly, locals such as Errol and Esther Joseph are returning.
We got all that wood behind there.
Although without the help from the volunteers from the Lower Nine charity, run by Laura Paul,
I would like to see as many of the original residents as possible get back in their homes.
they'd never be able to afford to rebuild. Do you see one day this entire neighbourhood being full of houses all over again like it was?
No,
10 years from now.
I don't think so.
These walls are going to start coming in.
Americans, rightly so, still cringe when reminded of the post-Katrina debacle. Thousands of people, mainly from the poor black community, were stranded. Many of them at the convention centre, hungry, sick and pleading for help. Over at the Superdome, you've heard so much about, well, that crisis has passed. But now it's shifted here, the problem, to the convention centre. And from those bad old days, well, these days the convention centre is the good news story here in New Orleans. Prior to Katrina, 10 million visitors came here. Last year, 9.5 million. So the word's getting out that New Orleans is back in business.
Yeah, they're coming back tonight, Jeff.
Vic Norman, an Australian, opened Vic's Kangaroo Bar long before Katrina hit, after coming here to live from Victoria. After the hurricane, well, he was soon back in business and has seen a lot of changes in the 10 years since. Now, a lot of your customers who come in, a lot of tourists as well, are they surprised that New Orleans is up and running again, even though it is 10 years on?
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah, some of them are. But some of them, a lot of them, they said, well, we didn't come back sooner. We used to come here all the time, but we didn't think anything was open.
Yeah.
And I said, well, everything's been open for the last 9 years.
It's good.
Yeah.
Business is good.
Yeah, I can't complain at all, really. So I've been lucky. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't get any damage, so I was able to reopen straight away.
There were people who predicted immediately after the flood that it would take us until 2020 to get back to 200,000 people. Well, we're close to 400,000 people right now, and we're the fastest growing city in America.
Although for the Josephs, sadly, for years to come by the look of it, there'll be no population boom around them. They'll have their old home back, although not their familiar old neighbourhood.
Oh, I feel happy to be over here.
Yeah.
Yes, be able to sit on the front porch if I want no neighbors.
Yeah.
But I would have rentals.
We got neighbors.
You got Fred right across the street.
Yeah, we got neighbors.
We just moved him home last month.
Yeah, that's just two people.
We're working as
That's
fast
three.
as we can.
That's good.
In New Orleans, Robert Penfold, 9 News. In New Orleans, Robert Penfold, NBN News.